What's up, friends? This is Manni and welcome to the Claw Dagon robot, a setup that has the potential of dealing 1.2 million damage per clip. Can you believe it? Even Titans are half destroyed after this. Let's have a look at this, okay? We'll see this here in a little bit of a one-on-one test against a maxed Minos of my own account, and you'll see we're taking, over the course of that whole clip, which seems to take forever, around 60% of the Titan damage of that Minos. And truth be told, this thing has heavy resistances, so it takes less damage. So let me show you how it looks like if we're firing at a max HP, 812,000 HP Orokochi, not using his ability, just firing at its HP pool. You see this guy takes around 50,000 damage per shot. And we fire so long with this freaking claw setup that the Orokochi is done and we still fire like 8 more shots afterwards before we need a reload. That means we have done like 1.2 million damage with one clip, basically. And that is really crazy. Now remember, why do we have so much clip potential? Remember, Jawclaw Talon received a nerf in fire rate, but the clip size remained pretty much the same, as well as the damage per hit. So now with the same clip size but firing slower, you simply fire for an extremely long time, never having to reload in between, and still ending up with 1.2 million damage per full cycle. And that is really insane. You can fight for such a long time, eliminate so many enemies, or even the most tanky things, and still have enough clip potential, ammo in the clip to half another tank before you have to reload or something. It's crazy. And the thing is, though, we only have 350 meters range, so we can't really fire halfway across the map like other weapons can, right? We are bound to in a short-range brawl, and as such, we're also having to compete with more powerful short-range brawling setups in that situation. So, putting this weapon up against, for example, Scatter or Havoc, yeah, would be a realistic scenario. Or to put it up against the harpoon weapons. And in that spirit, I think I need to say that those would outperform the Claw, Jaw, and Talon overall. However, the Havoc and Scatter, for example, they run into a short and slow reloading problem later. They are just at their reloading cap, and then they very slowly regenerate firepower, something that the Claw does better in this case with its relatively short fixed reload to get the full clip size back. But the harpoon weapons, on the other hand, they will just freaking rock you down forever without ever having to reload. And they provide you with shields, so probably the better setup and something we're gonna have a look at also sometime soon, okay? Stay tuned for that. For now, we're just enjoying, it's not really an old weapon. I was gonna say a bit of an older weapon. It's not really old. It's in fact, I think it's like a year, 1.5 years, maybe even less. When did they come out? It's not really that long, but it seems like Warabots is making such fast progression and meta changes in such short times now that something that has come out let's say 1.5 years ago, for example, isn't really up to date anymore. But nonetheless, you'll see that we're performing really well with it. It may not be the best thing you can put on the Dagon now, but it's definitely something worth considering if you don't have the best things, but you have this. Because, like I said, the really convincing factor is the clip potential per cycle. The fact that you rarely ever spend time reloading on this weapon, and you also have a perfectly hitting weapon. Remember, we are in a time in Warabots where lags are basically very constant. They're always there. I don't think you play any match where you don't see lags happen. And weapons such as flamethrowers, rockets, or stuff that you send a clip and then it could potentially go into nowhere because of a lag. Lags are so prominent that they become a balancing factor, actually. And they balance the game. That should say something about it, by the way. But yeah, so these weapons have no problem with lags. You hit perfectly no matter how the target is moving. You have no lock-on problems at the same time. So in that regard, the weapon actually really performs very well and is highly up to date. Seeing how it, has basically a lock-on, an auto-aim without a lock-on. Pretty good about this. Also, let's not forget that the weapons, they apply a rust effect on the enemy, and you having 6 of them, that's a lot of rusting. And it means basically that the maximum amount of HP of the enemy is being worked down. But yeah, here you see that we also have splash damage. This guy's behind the steel cover, but we can hit him. We hit against the steel cover, and the splash damage that these weapons have hit right past it. So this weapon actually has a lot of things going for it, a lot of pros and not too many cons, other than maybe its short range. And of course the fact that this nerf has reduced its DPS, the damage per second, drastically due to the lower fire rate, but that was to be expected because this weapon was performing extremely heavily well. And obviously when something like this happens to a weapon that's not the newest anymore, you can expect some nerf to come around the corner, because that is how War Robots works. Not how I want War Robots to work, but it's the way how it goes. And if it was up to me, I think things should be dialed in pretty well when they come in, so that there is no need to nerf them later. A slight power creep is something you can work with, but if they always come too powerful, like too broken, then of course there has to be something done about it at some point, and that's to prevent the extreme power creep, and that's when the nerfing comes in. I don't like it. Anyways, we're making it into an interesting spot here in this free-for-all match. See, I want to get that kill of the shell robot, so I put myself between both enemies to block the damage coming from the Orokochi, that he can't hit my target anymore, so that I get easily the free kill. I'll show you this later again, even with Titans involved. This really works very well if you have a shield and you want to make sure that this kill right there is yours. If you can get yourself between both enemies, then for a while, or for a few seconds, or milliseconds, depending on how big your shield is, you can prevent any damage from passing through you to the other guy. And you see here this moment from the intro, we're just keeping and firing, and everybody just dies, even up to the living legend, and there is, well, very little reloading that I do. I almost never seem to reload. Here's another example. There's a very tanky Fenrir coming in, alright? And you know how long it normally takes to destroy a Fenrir, and I'm beginning to cycle my shots in, and I just fire and fire and fire. The guy begins to recharge his health too at some point, and gains some healing back, I think here near the end. And yeah, boop, there comes, and I'm still keeping on firing, man. I never have reloaded even once, and the entire Fenrir got killed. It almost perfectly, ended up with the last rocket that took him down. And that is just very impressive, because this guy is a very tanky robot. And to drop this entire thing in one clip, it's just crazy. That also shows that it's more tanky than the 812,000 HP we did have before on the Orokochi, because remember, that thing took 1.2 million damage, even though it only had 812,000 HP. So we would have been able to kill a lot more health after his destruction in the beginning of that video, right? And that Fenrir died with the last rocket, so that means he basically had an equivalent of 1.2 million HP if we factor in his resistance. So, very interesting. Of course, that only works as soon as we begin to, as soon as we have maxed nuclear amplifiers, but of course we already had that running, I think, so there goes that. And also we have the Kestrel drone. Remember what it does? It applies a death mark to your enemy, so it hits one and then again, and it basically is able to provide about, I don't know, how much percentage does it per death mark? Was it like 20% or 25, or was it only 15%? I'm not sure, but it increases the damage output against your current target that it constantly death marks for you, and that is really very useful, because especially when it's like a Titan or a tank, then and you fire for it and for an extended period of time, you're gonna make sure to drop him much faster with that Kestrel drone. And here, again, I'm putting myself between the Titan and the other Titan to block the incoming laser damage from the Muromet, making sure that this Titan kill is gonna be mine. It's really funny how you can use that. The shield bubble of the Dagon robot is rather small, so it's not as easy to do this as with, for example, an Erebus. An Erebus has a much bigger shield bubble, and anything will get blocked completely. You just have to be roughly between them, and they can't fire at each other anymore. With a Dagon, you have to be really precise between those two, and also the level of weapon altitude that they fire at. Sometimes they can pass over your shield, but it still works, and I guess I've been able to show this to you. And this free-for-all match here was really, really crazy. It's a sniper map, you know? It's not really the typical map. We had a lag here. That's what I've said before. But I somehow got the kill. Yeah, so this isn't exactly the map you want to run Claw, Jaw, or Talon on with 350 meters range, but it works really nicely. And yeah. So here I just added the Shield of the Paladin battleship to my robot, and that gave me an additional 300,000 Aegis shield durability, and that Typhon robot was really desperate, man. He hammered his quad Havoc in there, and he was not able to do anything against me. And even though I just had almost 500,000 HP, now I lost a bit of health because he was shield breaking, I think with the help of the battleship or something. But now we're healing back to 560,000. 560,000, this is just so crazy, man. How can we have this much health on a glass cannon Dagon, you know? It's only because of all the Paladin and the durability extenders that provide us HP bonus past our maximum health. Now it's pretty much 600,000. Isn't that insane? This is like a freaking tank now. 614,000 now after getting the kill, and the Kestrel drone also giving us more maximum health at every kill. Now we have a one-on-one versus an Indra Titan, and he is able to drop our shields because he's got the Sonic Brawling weapons, and they definitely have enough damage potential in there to drop these shields, but after that the Dagon robot is a relatively small target, so most of those weapons will, most of the weapons' firepower will go into nowhere due to its spreading of the projectiles, you know? And now now that I'm reloading, he's finally out of his abilities. I'm adding another 300,000 HP durability from the Paladin, and after that we have another 85,000 from the Dagon itself that he has to work down. And that is just nuts. And look how fast we're also filling up the next battleship. 60%, 70%, and 80%. And boom, it's finished. Boom, we can charge back the health. Insane. Yeah, so Claw, Jaw, Talon, in this case only the claws, 6 times, sorry, is really nasty. I'm not exactly sure how much difference the rust effect does though. This is something I guess I should probably test at some point. How much does the rust effect do? How much is the damage of the weapon, and how much is the rust effect that works down the health of the enemy? I think it's a really interesting test, but how do we test it? Because every time we shoot, we also apply both things. So I feel like it's a little difficult to really test and find out exactly how much the rust does all by itself, basically. I want that Reaper Crisis setup. I want to kill him because he is dangerous. Like I've said in many other Dagon robot videos, the Reaper Crisis is something you have to focus, because he has the potential of one-tapping you if he activates his ability, passes through your shield with the increased damage output. Thankfully, he just fired at something, so he's visible now, and I am able to drop him pretty quickly without actually exposing myself to any fire of his, because he was reloading. Now we have an Ophion here, maybe I can drop him to last stand before he flies, and yes, it worked, nice. And then battleship support, 305,000 additional health on me that my enemies have to work down, and after that triggers the actual shield from the Ophion, and it's just a nightmare. It's just such a nightmare. You see, I'm actually in a battle, I'm like in the enemy base with continuously spawns of enemies on top of me. And even though they are all giving what they have to drop me, they can't even get through my shields. Because there is simply this much durability on it, and it recharges this quickly. If it was just the shield, they would be able to get rid of it quickly, but the recharge is insane. And so this guy made a bit of an oopsie here. He wanted to attack me in a short-range brawl, but turns out he fell. And that fall basically cost him his robot now, because now first off, he can't attack me anymore in short range with his sprawling weapons, and I can perfectly shoot down from this higher elevated position with these homing arc rockets that we have. This is another name they could have given these things. They could have called them arc rockets or something, because it's kind of what they do. They're like, they basically fire how I wish Noricums would fire. You know, of course Noricums could take longer for this, but I think Noricums should be able to shoot at any range, even 0 meters. You should be able to fire straight up and back down on top of you to hit somebody who's next to you, for example. I really wish Pixonic would do that, because these weapons would be fun. And we're also gonna make a video with Noricums 6 times here, on the Dagon. I can't wait to put that into a video, guys. This is gonna be fun. But of course, keep in mind the Noricums have this odd range problem. Anything below, I think 350 meters range or 300 cannot be targeted. You can't fire at it, and it's really stupid. That is such an outdated thing for a weapon that reloads 99% of it all its time and fires empty in 1 split second, most of the time not even hitting its target, because if somebody walks towards you or away from you, you can't compensate with the aiming for it. Yeah, so plenty of problems, and as such, I think that maximum or minimum range should really go. I mean, it's so outdated, seeing what other weapons can do in the game, right? But yeah, so let's keep on going and look forward to that Noricum Dagon video coming up sometime soon. And yeah. Also, I hope you guys are aware of the giveaway, right? Since this giveaway is on for a couple of days, but it's still running and you still have a chance to participate and win 1 out of 200 of those Dagons. So make sure to check out the video down in the description, pinned comment, or just check on the channel a couple of days back and you'll find the giveaway of the Dagon robot, and make sure to participate in that. And other than that, I think you guys have seen it again here in this video. Long compilation, lots of gameplay and action here, respecting viewers' time to the maximum of my abilities, where I just cut everything so that there is no boring sequences in between. And if you like this style of content, then yeah, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and maybe call me, tell me what you, maybe call me, yeah, call me, hey, tell me what you want to see next, alright? Would be cool, because I have a lot of motivation to make good content such as this now going forward. Now the thing is, you see we have a Newton Titan in front of us, and I want to drop him. I'm focusing him 100% because I hate the freaking Newtons, but there's just too much on me now. At this point there's like 5 enemies on me, and even though I'm having even the battleship support with a 300,000 durability and so on, but there's only so much you can do when you have now 3 Titans and 3 robots on us. That's 6 players. The entire enemy team was shooting me right there. Although I had, I think, an Ophion friend with me just a few seconds ago, but then I think he died and every focus switched to me because I was the only remaining target, and so I got 6 guys shooting me down. And that, you know, you can have Ophion and no, not Ophion. You can have as much shield energy as you want on the Dagon robot. When 6 guys emptied their clip on you, 3 of them being Titans, well, that's it. That's goodbye for you. But, you know, even considering that, I think, just if you go back, how long we lived, how long it took those 6 players to kill us. If this takes more than 3 seconds, it's broken, you know, and they took like 10 or 15 seconds. So it's really insane. And I enjoy the Dagon robot with all its possibilities that it provides us, with all these different setups you can run and test new things that we've never been able to test before. 6 weapons. It's crazy. Although, of course, the robot itself, let's be honest, it is overpowered, of course. It's a new robot, and as that, we are not surprised to see that it's more powerful than the previous robots, except Orokochi, though. And that is the big thing that I personally enjoy about it, is that it's not as broken as the Orokochi. If you shield break it, you just kill it. A Reaper Creeper can just kill you in 1 clip. Pop, 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 and you're done. And an Ophion with a legendary pilot shield breaking you passively, it's so easy for him to kill you. It's like no problem. There are plenty of setups. Harpy Sirens even, with the bendy bullets, you know, they the legendary pilot providing shield break. Dude, they are so dangerous. They would absolutely ruin your day if you're playing the Dagon. And that just tells me that this robot, although broken in many regards, at least it can be countered, it can be killed. If you really want to build a setup that finishes Dagons, you can do it relatively easily. Even any robot can do it with shield break. So yeah, always happy when something comes in that is not, you know, destroying the game. And that, I think, is not necessarily the case with the Dagon here. Look at this guy, he's safe behind the cover. He thought. But all the weapons we had just shoot right over it and hit him right in the face. And we dropped him down to last stand, and now he's flying. He's gonna land, and when he comes out of that, it's death time for the old poor Aochun. Oh man, what a poor robot this is. I mean, the Aochun is something that really suffered so much from the nerfs that it received. I don't even know how many nerfs it has been over the years, but the robot is so weak now. It's just a shell of its former self. Yeah, very sad. Again, problematic that I mentioned before. If nerfs didn't have to come in, something like this would not need to happen. That, I think, was a crisis that we just killed. It's hard to say, there's so many people standing close together, also allowing splash damage. It has happened quite a few times that I shoot some guy and another dude next to him dies because he's just standing there taking the splash hits. Although I'm not sure if there an explosive expert pilot skill. I just checked for you, there is no explosive expert pilot skill for these type of weapons, which is interesting because the weapon clearly does have splash damage. We've seen it before when the Demeter got killed behind cover, right? And we shot simply against the cover and he, behind it, took damage. And so, if there is splash damage, how is it that we can't increase that splash damage? I guess Pixonic never bothered to implement that skill for these type of weapons. I guess maybe something they could still do, because why not? But anyways, let's move on. We still have a lot of killing to do in this match, and we haven't yet won, so let's go and make that happen. I see an Indra Titan, and now Chun. And the Indra isn't exactly the most fun target to shoot at. Is because he has so much health, but somebody else is dropping my shield, and that's why the Indra was allowed to deal damage now. If it was just the Indra, he would probably never really break through that shield with his Fulgur weapons, but if somebody else drops my shield, then of course he can make use of it and hit me pretty hard after. Still shooting him, but hold on, what's that? Aha! A Seraph, but his flight ability is ready, unfortunately. I was hoping we can hit him before he gets into flight, but guess it seems he has his ability ready. The Outshun is also back in the air. Let's switch to him, see if we can... Oh man, reload. Really, this weapon like never reloads, but in this moment it did. And he is standing behind cover, so let's focus the Lynx first. He seems to be pretty interested in me, so maybe I should, be interested in him as well. I had a stealth for a second or two because of the battleship support, and now he's got stealth. Stealth everywhere. We have quite a stealth meta again, right? It used to be a stealth meta back in the days, and then it was the shield meta. Now, in between, I think we had some kind of resistance meta. Then it was the absorber shield meta, and now basically we're back in some kind of stealth meta. Although it has gotten a little better with the drone no longer providing such long stealth times with each effect that does. Like the beak drone, right? It had longer stealth before. Thankfully, that is no longer the case. It's just for a temporary, like really, this is how these effects should be, like temporarily, maybe for 2 seconds, block your targeting or something. It's just really a problem if you have a lock-on weapon. Every time you have to reestablish the lock-on, basically kills your chance of fighting that guy. But not too many weapons have a lock-on anymore. It's more the older weapons that do that. And even there, I would say that they should probably change it and take the whole lock-on feature out of the game. Especially since mostly the old weapons suffer from it that underperform anyways, right? So why hold on to that outdated feature? It's always what I say, but so far we still have this in the game. Or let the pilot skill completely reduce it to 0, right? If there's a pilot skill to reduce the lock-on time, just make it 33% or 20% with the first level, 33 or 40 with the second, and then 60 or 70, and then 100%. There's no lock-on anymore when you have it at gold level tier 4. Alright, so Abyss, lots of enemies, and interestingly enough, nobody's firing at me. Maybe and that's something I see more often than not with the Dagon robot. I think that they understand there's so much shield energy, and they're not very interested in shooting you. There are other targets without a shield. They will typically prefer to shoot those instead. And so you're relatively free to move around the map and just shoot things. And see here, he doesn't want to shoot me. Instead, he just shoots anything else he can get his hands on. And that is normally not the experience I make. Normally it's like, oh, look, it's Manni-Gaming, let's shoot him. But yeah, with the Dagon robot, it's a little different. It's different though when you have 2 or 3 guys shooting you. They see that they can get that shield dropped. Here the battleship kicked in the right time and gave me another 300,000 of shielding. Just insane, and just at the right time too. But yeah, it's still It's still a shield that gets dropped pretty quickly when multiple people shoot you. But here you can see, man, they're just never even doing damage to me. It's just my yellow shield that goes up and down the whole time. Nothing in between actually even hits my robot. 380,000 health meanwhile. He's emptying his clip. It's no use. There's no way he could ever get through with the cryo weapon, even though they have a lot of damage potential for a short time. But once they're empty, that's when they really lack the DPS. He jumps on me one more time, but it's not enough. And Living Legend! Where's the sunglasses? Hold on. Here they are. We're in Living Legend, so we have to put it on. There we go. So you guys wanted me to do this for such a long time. Yeah, it's not so easy under the headphones. There we go. Living Legend! Again, boom, Living Legend. Nobody has a chance here. What's this? It's a Mars robot, okay. And Living Legend! And up there is an Ao Ming. But he's smart. I see that we're losing this match on beacon progress, so I'm capturing the beacon and I'm staying on the beacon. I remain on the beacon to make sure that we're not losing it anymore. And I want to kill the Ao Ming, but at the same time I feel like, if I move away from that beacon, somebody's probably going to come from behind and sit on it and take it. And the only hope I had of winning this match here was to keep that beacon and to rely on my team getting other beacons in the same time. And then I saw the Skyros ball, and for the next 20 seconds or whatever, I could no longer leave this beacon, because if I had, the Skyros would have just taken that, right? So I'm basically bound to sit here now for the rest of the game, having to rely on my team to do everything else. And unfortunately, they are not able to capture enough beacons in the meantime, and we're losing the match. But it's okay, you know? It's part of the game to lose the matches as well. And overall, I think I've been able to show you a pretty good impression of the claw when you have it 6 times on the Dagon. Very powerful setup, insane clip potential. The damage delivery takes a bit of time. It's not the highest DPS. It's not the most efficient brawling weapon. But since you never really have to reload, or for such a long time you don't, it actually becomes a really good brawling weapon over time. And you've seen before, the Orokochi in the intro, 50,000 damage per hit is actually pretty good, right? Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one and catch you in the next video. Manni signing off. Bye-bye.